Welcome to the Two Geeks and a Microphone podcast, your one-stop shop for television, movie, video games, comic books, book reviews, and more. Now, without further ado, here's Steven and Mike.
Welcome, everyone, to the Two Geeks and a Microphone show. We are so glad you are joining us today. Well, okay, as you can tell from my voice, I'm a little scratchy. I've been sick all week, but I'm excited to be here with you to talk wonderful things about Boba Fett. I am your co-host, Mr. Steven Boster, along with the one, the only Mr. Michael Shanks. Mike, say hey to everybody.
Good afternoon to all you geeks out there in geekdom land.
That's so true. Yeah, we're doing this in the afternoon because so
somebody needed a little time to rest.
Yeah, something. Yes, actually, yes. Mike was so gracious. I said, Mike, can we please let me sleep in? Because I'm still struggling.
Yeah, you didn't have to beg for that because I actually got to sleep in too. So
right
I actually
on.
slept until 7 a.m., believe it or not.
Woo, that's a long time for you, I gotta say.
Yeah, I looked at my app and I actually had 9 hours of sleep. That's like a record for me, man.
Right? Wow.
Yeah.
And well, I know you're always up super early for your work, and you're at work early.
Yeah. So
everything too
weekends,
as well.
I try to sleep in, but sleeping in for me on a weekend is like 6 a.m.
Right.
So stay until 7. Wow.
Right. So I got to say this. So just so everybody knows, I want to get this out of the way. So this afternoon, in a couple of hours, is our 1 year anniversary show.
Yes.
1 year anniversary episode. That is at 4:00 Central Standard Time. And so on the weekends, we normally do, when we have some of the Star Wars special stuff, we do that, we got to get our Star Wars episode in, and we want to talk about it because we love Star Wars. And then we do another episode of something else, whatever our topic is. But this week, today, in just a couple hours, I am so pumped for our 1 year anniversary extravaganza. Here's the deal. I'm not going to spoil anything. At least I hope I'm not. But Mike reached out to previous episode
guests.
folks, and I'm not going to say who's all showing up, but we got some. We it's going to be fun. It is an extravaganza, so please join us. 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. That's my time. And then if you're on the East Coast, that's 5 o'clock. And then if you're on the West Coast, I have family on the West Coast, and we have listeners on the West Coast. That's 2 o'clock. Oh my gosh, could I make that any more complicated? I'm so fuzzy brained. I'm so sorry, everybody.
And you're still better at figuring out the time zones than I am. I just put 4 p.m. Central Standard. You figure out the time for your zone.
Right.
I'm terrible.
Yeah. So, but Mike, you had stated some of the stuff that we're going to do for that episode. Not only do we have special guests who are giving shout outs, but you would say some other things we're kind of talking about our journey, right?
Yeah, I figured we kind of discuss our journey, how it started, how we got the idea, and just and talk about how we got different guests and how that all came about. So it should be a fun episode.
Yeah, if you're wanting to do your own podcast, listen to the show, because we're just sharing our story. We're not going to sit here and say, hey, we're going to charge you $1,000 to hear how we did it.
But now, if you want to pay us $1,000, we're not opposed to that.
No, to help us with our podcast. That's funny. That's a good comeback. That was good. I like that. Excuse me. So
We won't charge you, but we aren't opposed to taking money.
right, through our Ko-fi page. Speaking of
Right.
which, if you do want to support us, we do have our Ko-fi page. It's kind of like Patreon, and we just went to a tier-based system, and I'm pretty excited about it. We are launching some new stuff for supporters only, and that is through the Ko-fi page. So I'm very excited about what's coming up. Mike, you want to talk about the series that we're going to do?
So, for Ko-fi subscribers, we are going to do a sci-fi classic series. I figure we'll talk a little bit more about this during our anniversary episode, and so please tune into the anniversary episode, and we'll detail it a little bit more in there. But Stephen is correct. We're switching to a tier system on our Ko-fi page. Each tier has different benefits, so please check it out. And we tried to be affordable, but we also need to make a little bit of money to try and recoup recoup our fees and stuff for making the podcast, because unfortunately it's not free.
It is not. There are things that are free, but eventually you get to the point where you got to start paying for stuff. So, but we'll talk about that for our little extravaganza later on today. So that again, our 1-year anniversary edition, talking about our journey and where we've been and where we're at and where we're going. All that's happening today with special guests chiming in. So it's going to be fantabulous. I love it. Love it. All right.
But now we are talking about Book of Boba Fett.
Yes.
Episode 3,
yes.
The Streets of Mos Espa.
Right.
So
yes, it was fabulous.
So I figure we start this off like we normally do. We'll kick it off with a spoiler-free section for a few moments. Of course, I think being Saturday and it was aired on Wednesday, most people watching or listening are probably going to have seen the episode.
I've probably already seen it.
Right. I would hope so anyway. But
right,
just to give grace, I don't want to throw out any spoilers till we give a spoiler warning.
I like that about you. You're considerate. You're a considerate guy.
I try.
Where I'm just like, let's just start talking. Let's do this.
Well, it's only because I got called out by a couple of listeners. Hey, you guys need to be a little more careful on your spoilers. Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I thought we were a spoiler episode, spoiler podcast for the most part, but okay. All right.
But in all fairness, it was good information and stuff.
So overall,
what
did you think about this episode, Stephen?
Okay, so you're letting me go first this time. I love it. Yeah. Thank you so much. Hey everybody, if you see me pass out by the end of this episode, that's only because I'm trying to use all my energy to be upbeat and have a great time, by golly. All right, so here's the dealio. So I watched it on lots of medication first time. Lots of Tylenol.
So wait, did you feel like Boba did in the last episode when the Geico lizard went up his nose?
Oh my goodness, that's fun.
And we had the acid trip out in the desert and everything.
Yeah. No, I wasn't acid tripping, but yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty good. I like that. I did watch it a second time because I really enjoyed it. And you know me, if I watch something a second time, that means I liked it because I don't have a whole lot of time. I make I'm very specific about my time.
Because I'm seeing lots of gripes about this episode online.
We'll talk. You can let me know what some of those are because it was a good. It's 4 point. I give it a 4.152. No, I'm just kidding. I'll give it a 4. Easy a 4 out of 5. Easy 4 out of 5. Maybe I should say we got to say 4 out of 5 Rancor monsters.
Nice. Yes, I like it. I like it. Yeah. So our rating system on today, because if you're just tuning in, you've never tuned into us before. We like to pick something in the episode as a rating system. So like last episode, we used gaffy sticks,
Gaffy sticks.
because that was very gaffy stick heavy. It
Yes.
was either going to be that or Geico lizards, one of the two.
Yeah.
So we went
Right.
with gaffy sticks. I think Rancors is perfect pick for this one. So if you've seen the episode, you understand why.
Yes.
And we go between 1 and 5, 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Initial watching, I probably would have said a 3.5 on this.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I actually liked it better the second time around.
Oh, right on.
Now, granted, the second time around, I probably would have liked it even more had I not been pausing every 30 seconds to take a note here and there. Because this time I actually took some notes, and I actually turned on the closed caption so I could read some of the things and get a better idea what was going on. Hence, that was a pro tip from Jason Swank over on Rebel Force Radio, and I really liked that tip. That was great. If I wouldn't have been doing that, I probably would have liked it even more. But yeah, initially there was a couple things in this episode, and I won't say yet because, like I said, we're trying to keep this few minutes.
I know it's hard. Some of these are getting hard to not be spoilerific.
Right. But there was a couple moments I was like, I don't know if I like that so much or not. But on second watching, I think I liked it a little bit better. Plus, I had a better understanding of what was going on. So, if you guys watch this episode, and on the initial, you get this, I don't like this, I don't like what they're doing here, I would really suggest going back and rewatching it, because I really do think it's better on a second.
So you got more out of it the second time.
Yeah.
A second time watch through. Okay.
And I think that's just because a couple things jarred me, and I was like, I don't know. I just don't know. And then watching it the second time, I was able to enjoy it a little bit more, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So,
yep. Hey, real quick, everybody. If you're listening, if you just want to put in the comment section where you're from or say, hey, we've had some people ask us, yes, we do not have a producer. So it is Mike and I who are responding back to you. We do it. If you notice, we do it while the other person's talking. So we kind of enjoy that. So if you just want to do a shout out and say hey to us, we'd really appreciate it. We love having you here with us. We do try to make sure we say hey thanks to those who are coming up. We don't do a chat overlay right now. We can do a chat overlay. But we're still trying to figure stuff out in the best framework to do stuff. But we can put up specific notes. So Janelle, hey, thanks for joining us from Oregon. Awesome. Hopefully I pronounced your name right. Stated, have to see the best review to decide to watch. Old school fan, so trust your opinions. I said, thank you so much.
Yeah, and if you're talking about old school fans, that would be us.
We are old school fans.
We are old, and we are old school.
Right. That we are. So yeah, we love the shout outs. We love the questions. We try to get to some if we understand it. We'll do it. Excuse me, we are old. And stuff. So, hey, with that, let me continue real quick. Thanks for letting me take that sidebar. I just wanted to give shout outs to folks. I will say this. While I absolutely loved the second episode, I loved it. It furthered some lore with the Tuscan Raiders.
Great.
It furthered understanding the gaffy sticks. And Boba Fett's journey. I loved it. This episode was good. It was good. Introduced some new things. So I consider it kind of an introduction to some other things going on. So it's setting this episode really set the stage for some other things that I'm sure are going to come by. It even hinted at what it may do, which I'm very excited for one thing. I'll tell you that. And I don't want to spoil anything.
I want to see if it's the same thing I'm excited about because I got a feeling.
Right. I do know, like you were saying before, and I put in the description that you said there's a lot of Easter eggs in here. So I'm looking forward to talking about those and learning about those. So, but I enjoyed it. As I said, I watched it a second time. Will I watch it a third time? actually, probably, yeah, because I know it's setting up. There's stuff that it's setting up to. The music was great in it. There's a certain scene in there that was, for me personally, was heart-wrenching. I know some people were griping about that. You were talking about some gripes. I don't want to spoil anything, but the music was incredible. It was fantastic. Fantastico.
Now I'm not gonna compare that to the music or anything, but it's funny that you bring up the music being really good in this episode, but there were aspects of musical bands in the last episode, because the last episode I got a very Doors vibe with, like I said, the whole Geico lizard going up his nose and the acid trip out in
Right.
the desert and everything. It gave me a very Doors feeling.
Right.
This episode, I got a very Who feeling. The Who, which I am a big Who fan. I love the Who. The Who is my Beatles. I don't care for the Beatles.
Right.
Please don't turn me off because I said that. But I'm not a fan of the Beatles, but I love the Who. So there were a couple things in here, and the funny thing is that was actually one of the things that kind of jarred me for a second where I'm going, I don't know if I like this, but you know what? It gives me a feeling of the Who. So, and I'll explain that in a few minutes.
Okay.
So I thought that was pretty interesting. So
yep. Now, for those of you who still need to watch this episode, giving a shout out, we are going to go into spoilerific territory. So if you don't mind spoilers, hang out with us. We love it.
But if you haven't seen episode 3, Streets of Espa, stop the podcast now and go watch it, and then come back and join us later. So Here we are. Spoiler alert.
Oh, you're already hitting the spoiler alert.
Well, I thought you were getting ready to go into spoilerific territory. So,
well, I was actually, but yeah.
All right.
Hey, I want to get to Janelle's question here real quick. Who are the Beatles? That's funny. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Question overall is, I had a transition period getting into The Mandalorian. Is this a similar journey I should prepare for?
Ooh, I think that's actually a really good question.
That's a fabulous question.
Yeah. Now I don't know if I had that same transition period that you had, Janelle.
You were already a big Boba Fett fan, though.
Yeah, I'm a huge Boba Fett fan.
Okay.
But I do feel there is a slight transition period for Boba Fett.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think if you're a huge Boba Fett fan from the old days, there's quite a difference between the Boba Fett that we all imagined back in the day and what we're seeing on the screen today. And I don't think it's a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me. I'm not trying to say that this is bad or anything. I think we're going into a really interesting period in Boba Fett's life. But the great thing is we're seeing aspects of his youth as we go along, and we're seeing how he got to where he was in The Mandalorian. So those aspects I think make the show really, really good. But if you're a hardcore old school Boba Fett fan, yeah, it may take a little transition period, I think. That's just my take.
I'll go with that. Janelle, thanks for the question. I'm not as big of a Boba Fett fan as Mike, so let me just say that real quick. But I will say that I have enjoyed the series a lot, and actually, if you haven't seen the first 2 episodes, watch together. Don't watch them separately. Watch together.
It's almost like part 1 and part 2.
Yeah, it really is. Watch those together, and that will help. And then I thought the second episode was far better than the first. That's why I said group them together, and it got me into it. I was by the end of the second episode, I was totally into it. And then the third episode is expanding the lore around it. And it's kind of I've heard some people say it's Godfather sci-fi or Star Wars Godfather kind of a thing. Sure, I could do that a little bit, kind of a thing. I just keep dragging me back in, kind of a thing. So, kind of a thing. So, that it's worth seeing. I can say that it's worth seeing.
Oh, definitely. Okay,
Worth seeing.
so let's dig into this episode.
Yes.
So, opening scene, we get the Bomar monk again, the little spider creature with the brain in the jar and everything.
Yeah.
Which is a cool shot. I love that shot. But I'm questioning: Are we going to get any kind of all the lore I've heard about the Bomar monks has just been in talk of us fans, learning from us fans what those things actually are. Are we actually going to get any of that lore in the series? We keep seeing shots of them, but are they going to explain what they are in the series?
I always tell myself with TV shows and stuff, everything is done with purpose. Everything.
Right. And usually Star Wars, there's always something,
Right. And so we've gotten two scenes almost identical where you see him crawling along the rock and you see the Jabba's palace in the background.
Right.
I guess it's not Jabba's palace anymore.
I still refer to it as Jabba's palace too, but I guess it should be Boba's palace.
Right.
I don't know. It's just ingrained in my head that it's Jabba's palace. So,
right.
So yeah, we get that shot, and then I love it when we come into the scene and we have 8D8, which, by the way, 8D8. I don't know if we really talked about 8D8 in the first two episodes.
I don't think so.
8D8 is actually the torture droid seen in Return of the Jedi, and 8D8 is also used at Galaxy's Edge in Disney. He can be seen charring. I don't remember what Star Wars animal it was. He had some animal that he's charring over a pod. A pod speeder.
Hey, what were those things called in Last Jedi? What were those little animals called?
Porgs. It was Porg that he was charring, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But he had a pod racer engine that he was charring whatever the animal was over the spindle.
Oh, okay. Cool. That's cool. That was at Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah, that was at Galaxy's Edge. And it's the same type of droid too. I don't know if it's actually supposed to be 8D8 at Galaxy's Edge, but excuse me. But it's the same type of droid. Anyway, so we get the scene where 8D8 is going over and kind of telling the layout of the land of Mos Espa. And we actually find out that under Bib Fortuna kind of, I guess, how do I say it? He, I can't think of the word I'm wanting to use. Anyway,
took over. Well, loose alliance with the families.
Yeah, he had a loose alliance with 3 different families. So we find out that Trandoshans are in the center city, which explains
why we saw so many of them. I was like,
right.
Holy cow, there's so many Trandoshans here.
Right. And I asked that last episode, I'm like, what, did the Trandoshans take over, or something? Well, I guess in a way they did. Or at least they took over part of Mos Espa. So, and I said it last episode, and I'm going to say it again. We get all these Trandoshans. I want freaking Bosk. I want Bosk to show up.
Wouldn't that be fun?
So then we also have, he reveals that the Aqualish, they're the workers district. They have control of the workers district. So an Aqualish, that's the walrus looking creatures.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So if you're an old,
the guy that got its arm cut off and by
yes.
Oh, okay.
Exactly. What was Ponda Baba was his name in Star Wars: A New Hope.
Whoa, that's a deep cut.
So
little Trivial Pursuit thing going on there, dude.
So yeah, Ponda Baba, that's who Obi-Wan cuts his arm off, and The funny thing is, if you're
you
an
give me a
old,
hand with this.
oh yeah, yeah, can you give me a hand with this? So if you're an old school vintage Kenner action figure collector, Ponda Baba had the, what was it? I think it was purple and orange. He had almost like an orange unitard.
Okay.
But he's got this walrus looking face. And every time I see that action figure, all I can think of is Mark Hamill in interviews talking about how back then they didn't have names for it. We didn't have names for these guys, so we would have called him Buttface. So that's all I can think of when I see that. I just
funny.
picture Mark Hamill and the whole, we call him Buttface.
Right.
So the Aqualish, they control the workers district. And
Okay.
then the Clatoonians, they control the starport and the upper sprawl. Now, exactly what that means, I don't know.
I assume since most episode looks like it's in a crater or something, and then the outer edge, the outer rim around the city, and then with the spaceport being up there, that's what I thought. But what kind of folks? But thanks, Janelle. Nice job on your Mark Hamill impression.
Thanks, Janelle. I try. I got another one coming up for you, but not Mark this time. Next time. So yeah, so I guess you would compare it to almost like a stadium, and that's how they would call the upper bowl of the stadium. So and so forth.
That's what I assumed. That's what it was.
So yeah, so we have that, and they're explaining all. He's explaining all that, and then we have the Gamorrean guards come in and announce that they have a visitor, which was pretty cool,
Right.
because when I first saw the visitor, when he came in, I was like, I know this guy from somewhere. Where do I know this guy from?
Oh, right.
And I watched it a second time, and I was like, okay, I got to figure out where the heck did I know this guy. Well, yeah, I found out. So
Yep.
the actor is Stephen Poole, or no, Stephen Root.
Easter egg.
That's right, Easter egg. And Stephen Root played Milton on the on Office Space.
I did my stapler. You took my stapler. You took my water. You took my water.
So, yeah, exactly. Somebody posted a meme.
Andrew Staples did.
Oh, was it Andrew Staples?
Our friend from the Escape Pod Facebook group.
Yep. Yeah. So like he comes in, and then Fennec leans over to Boba and says, he said somebody took his stapler.
Right. I love it. Loved it.
So that was a nice little Easter egg. I like that. And I thought he was great. He was starting to annoy me how he kept saying, and I was so offended for you. Offended for you.
Yeah. Can you brown nose anymore?
Exactly.
I
was waiting for Fennec to go look at Boba and go, you want me to shoot him?
Right.
Let's just shoot this guy.
I'll tell you what, the way this thing's playing out, looks like that may just happen in another episode.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't know. I don't think he's worth their time, actually. But then he mentions that a band, a gang, more or less, robs him. And he's a merchant in the servant district. Or
they took my water. They stole my water.
They stole my water. They stole my red stapler. But yeah, they stole his water because he sells water, which makes sense on Tatooine. But he said that he made a comment that they're cyborgs. They're half man, they're half machine. He was very disgusted by them. Mm-hmm. And I was really waiting for Fennec Shand to take his head off at that point, because we all know that Fennec Shand is actually cyborg. She's got the cybernetic, gut, Right. So, yeah, there was part of me that was like, yeah, how does Fennec feel about this guy? Come on, let her pull out the blaster and shoot him right in the head.
Right.
I was waiting for it, but oh well. But when he made the comment that they're cyborgs, that they're part man, part machine, I got excited for a moment, because I was like, this would be a perfect chance for them to introduce a classic Star Wars comic book character who was
Okay.
in the original Marvel comics, and he's been carried over into the new Bounty Hunter series now, and his name is Valance. And man, Valance is an awesome freaking character. I would so love to see a live action version of Valance.
They may be setting the stage.
I hope so, but this gang, yeah, they didn't compare to Valance. I'm sorry.
Right.
In fact, um, when we meet the gang, because after that moment, Boba Fett decides, all right, I'm gonna go see what's going on,
Right.
and he and Fennec and the two Gamorrean guards they take a walk out into the city. Whoops, sorry about that.
That's all right.
They take a walk out in the city, and yeah, they run into the gang, quote unquote.
Right.
Yeah, they actually reminded me more of Biff's gang from Back to the Future.
I like that. I like that.
That's what I got the feeling of when I saw him. I was like, oh my
Really?
gosh, is this Biff's gang?
I didn't think that. When I saw him, I was like, oh, cool. We got some kid, they're just
I
trying to
don't
make
know.
their way in the verse.
They just did not. I don't know. I wasn't real impressed with them first look. Okay,
Sure. And I think it was meant to be that way because it's just,
but
here's this perceived problem and they're I liked how they used this situation to give different perspectives of the world in Mos Espa and why it was
yeah,
called the streets of Mos Espa. Here's what's really happening. Here's what's really going on. Yeah, we stole his water. Yeah, we did. I was like, oh, that's bold in front of Boba. How cool is that? And then they were like, but he's charging 3 times the amount.
right.
Kind
Yeah,
of a thing.
and then he was like, you know what? Well, you can come work for me. Because he's like, well, you should be working, and you're not working. Well, there's no jobs, so how are we going to work? Fine,
Mm-hmm.
come work for me. And then Milton hears him.
Yeah, who just happened to be there nearby.
Right. And well, I think his shop was right there or something, which,
No, he was that. Well, I don't
you,
know. I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
think it gave credence to the thing he was just playing Boba. I was
Well,
so offended for you. Just saying.
I was just waiting for him to go. I said no salt on my margarita. I'll blow this place up. No salt. No salt. I was
Right.
so waiting for it, but oh well. So
Right, I
if
hear
somebody
you.
wants to do a YouTube video of that, let me know because I still want that to happen. But now's when we got the part where I thought about the Who,
Mhm.
because when we see the gang, we see their speeder bikes,
Mhm.
and this is the part that kind of jarred me because I was like, really, that's the design you're going with on Tatooine? The speeder bikes were red, blue, yellow, green.
Oh,
I
there were
mean,
different colors.
not
Mhm.
just different colors, bright, super bright
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
this dark area. I mean,
Yeah.
we have never seen colors this bright on
That's
all of
fair. That's
Tatooine.
fair. Okay.
And I don't know, it was jarring to me. I was like, I don't like this. They look out of place. It's
It does.
there was something I just didn't like it. But I saw them and I saw them and the way they're dressed, and it made me think back to, and I know we have some listeners over in the UK, so um, they could chime in on this a little bit, but it made me think back of the Who and the Who's album Quadrophenia, which is a rock opera. Granted, the Who was well known for rock operas, especially Tommy. Tommy was the epitome of rock operas and still my favorite. Tommy, can you hear me? Anyway, um, I've never actually listened to all of Quadrophenia, but Quadrophenia is supposed to be about the mods and the rockers. So the
Okay.
mods were like a gang that all drove mopeds, and they wore I don't know, outfits that look very similar to what we saw on this group, you know. And then we had the Rockers, and the Rockers were they drove motorcycles. So they were kind of competing gangs in the 60s in the
Excuse me.
UK
Mhm.
and England. But yeah, this was like, wow. Wow, is this a Who video? So
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
so last episode we had the Doors, which is cool because
Right.
you know Doors is a cool 60s band that I really like. And now we have the Who, and the Who is my Beatles. So
That's funny. That's funny. Well, I'll say this. I love the concept of having the bikes. I thought that was neat.
Oh,
And
sure.
how they were, going through the city and stuff. Excuse me. So I liked it. I do understand your color. I heard some people made a gripe saying they were trying to, what was it? It was
Disney
like the
Pie.
Power Rangers or something.
Oh yeah, I saw the Power Rangers comment, which I thought was pretty funny actually.
I was like, that's dumb.
Well, now
they didn't like put all the bikes together to make one big Voltron thing.
I don't know. I might have liked it better had they done that.
It'd been much more better.
Much more better. And our friend Paul Bateman called them out for putting zippers on the one girl's leather jacket or whatever. He's like, come on, we don't do zippers in the Star Wars universe. There's no
Oh, that's
you
funny.
Don't do
I didn't see that.
Yeah, Paul has a big gripe about using zippers and buttons in the Star Wars universe. So if you all know Paul Bateman, Bateman's been on the show. He's been on Rebel Force Radio. Paul is a great guy. He's
oh
so
my goodness,
fun.
he's so fun.
Yeah, if you want to have a fun time, listen back to our Paul Bateman episode. It was really good.
Yeah, just another side note about Paul Bateman. For those that may not know, he's the caretaker of the Ralph McQuarrie estate. Who's the guy?
I think that's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
He learned from Ralph McQuarrie. Ralph McQuarrie is the guy who did most of the concept art for Star Wars in the beginning, and Paul Bateman's worked on Doctor Who. He's worked on all kinds of stuff that he couldn't tell us when we were interviewing him and stuff like that. It was great. He's a lot of fun. If you get a chance to see that episode, go back and take a look watch that episode, because you'll see it, and he has a curtain behind him. He's got a sheet up because of non-disclosure agreements. He had to cover up his workshop.
Right.
So it was pretty funny.
Yeah, apparently Mark Anthony wasn't worried about that when he did our episode, because he had all kinds of artwork behind him. So
yeah, I think most of his is computer. Mark Anthony.
I don't know. Go watch his YouTube channel. Yeah, that's a good thing to watch too. Check out Mark Anthony's YouTube channel, because it shows some of his art and stuff. And he doesn't just do all computer art. He does some other stuff.
Oh, he's a great artist in his own right.
Yeah, he's fantastic. And actually, it's cool that you brought up Ralph McQuarrie, because Ralph McQuarrie will come into play in this episode too.
Oh, good. Okay, I knew it was in the his concept art was in the last episode, episode 2.
So now, when they, when Boba invites him back to join him, so now we go back to Boba's palace, not Jabba's palace, Boba's palace.
Boba's palace.
And we get the frog returning again, the frog creature in front of the palace. In fact, we even get the burp that we saw in Return of the Jedi.
Right.
So my question is, was George Lucas on set when they were doing this? And George, he says, hey Dave, hey John, Dave, we need the frog, and I want him to burp, because that's funny. We gotta have a burping frog. It's funny. So,
right.
So yeah, I just wonder if George was on set when they when they came up with that idea.
It was good. Dude, how many notes did you take? You went through the whole episode. Our episode's gonna be longer than the episode itself.
About 3 pages.
Wow.
So now we're back at I almost said Baba's palace. Boba's palace, and we get another tank back to tank scene, and Boba starts having memories again. So we go back to Camino. We see a shot of Camino. We see the slave one taking off. Jango leaving Camino, and Boba Fett watching him. And we get that nice little contrast. I love it, where you see Boba's reflection in the glass on Camino, and then it goes into Boba's current face.
Right.
In the back
Tamura Morrison's face.
Yeah, Tamura Morrison's face. I love that. Now, my question here is, we keep having these flashbacks to Camino. Are we eventually going to get a young Boba Fett, and could we possibly get them bringing Daniel Logan in to actually play a younger version of, maybe when he's a young adult Boba Fett in these flashbacks?
I doubt it. That's my opinion.
I'm being hopeful. Look, I want Daniel to have a job, okay? I'm petitioning Disney right now. Bring Daniel in, have him play the young version, the young man version of Boba Fett. So
I think the Boba Fett fan club on Facebook posted a picture of the kid they used for this one to do this young. And I
really?
put Daniel Logan's face on him.
That's cool. So I had to check that out.
Yeah.
But then we get more of the Tuscan Raiders. So we see what happens to his tribe, because I would say that.
Yeah, let's talk about this real quick, because I got to get some. Go ahead. You finish your thoughts and then I'll roll.
So we see him.
Get ready, everybody.
We see him with the Tuscans, and he decides to go pay a visit to the Pikes.
Yes.
Then we find out that the Pikes are already paying protection money to the Klaatu biker gang. I think they're Klaatus. Anyway, that they're already paying protection to the Klaatus, and they don't want to pay protection to both the Klaatus and to the Tuscan Raiders. Although I did like what Boba was like, well, look, you're going through Tuscan territory, and we've been in control of this territory. They've been in control of this territory for since the waters of Tatooine disappeared, which I'm sure at some point we're going to get the history on that. Although Milton wanted to tell the history, and Boba cut him off. Because he did say, there's an interesting story behind that, and Boba's like, yeah, I don't care.
Right.
Whatever.
Been there, done that.
So then we have the trip back, and that's when I come to the realization that, man, banthas are slow. Why in the heck would they want to use these to travel with? They are so slow.
Right.
I know they're an elephant covered with hair and everything, but my gosh, they're slow. In fact, they're so slow that once he gets back to the camp, or he gets close enough to the camp to see that it's smoking, he jumps off the bantha and runs, because they're just too freaking slow. But yeah, so we get to the camp, and we find out that the Klaatu biker gang has now destroyed the camp and killed all the Tuscans in the tribe.
It seems like everybody, yeah.
Yeah, I think everyone was killed. I didn't see anyone left, and he leaves by himself.
Yeah.
So I think they wipe out everybody. I think they're gone.
Yeah. So this was the scene I referenced that I thought the music was fantastic for.
Oh.
It was great. It was heart-wrenching. I didn't like it, but I understood it. And let me rephrase that.
I don't think you're really meant to like that.
Agreed.
I mean,
right.
It's supposed
as far
to
as storytelling, I was like, no, they invested in it. Oh man, kind of a thing.
Which is interesting, because we've went from and we've talked about this in previous episodes, but we've went from seeing the Tuscan Raiders portrayed in Star Wars: A New Hope with Luke and Obi-Wan as marauders. We've seen them portrayed with Anakin. They kidnap his mother, and they torture his mother. And, and we get
Yeah.
the whole, I killed them all. I killed the children, the women, all of them. I hate them. They're animals.
Mhm.
But now we see this tribe, and this tribe is a lot different from what we've seen in previous movies of Star Wars,
Right. Uh-huh.
where we feel for them.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, we want Boba to have his revenge against this biker gang for taking out
Yep.
what essentially becomes his family. I mean,
Mhm.
this is the only family Boba's ever known, at least as far as we know.
Right.
And I think the way they're portraying it in the show is, yeah, this is his only family. He had his father, and then he lost his father at a young age. And we know from the Clone Wars, he teams up with the bounty hunters in the Clone Wars, but I don't think he ever connects with them like he connects with the Tuscans. So that's my thought on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was good. It was a good episode. I'm looking forward to seeing what the next flashback scene is from that.
Well, yeah, because it's almost like we're moving into the territory of Mandalorian now. Because I don't think there's a lot of time difference from that scene when he walks away from the destroyed camp to when he meets up with Mando. I think we're at a close point here. I don't think there's a lot of time between those 2 points.
We got to figure out how he gets back his ship.
Yeah, that's true, because he has the ship in Mando. So yeah, maybe that's the next sequence that we'll see. And of course, I'm sure we'll get another sequence on Camino also with young Boba Fett. So
yep. Okay. Heart-wrenching scene done.
And and that's also another George Lucas poetry moment. It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that goes to Tatooine? The Tatooine scene in A New Hope when Luke comes back to his aunt and uncle, Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and their homestead is burned and destroyed. It's a very similar feeling between the two. So again, George Lucas, poetry, it rhymes.
Yep, that's good. That's a good callback. That's insightful. All right, back to Tank. Come on.
So he comes. He wakes up to. My gosh, I cannot pronounce that Wookiee's name. Kraskin. I have no idea. The big, huge, badass Wookiee.
Right.
Who's freaking cool. I love him. Wakes up to him choking him.
Yeah. I was like, fight.
How did that Wookiee get into the palace? That's what I want to know. My gosh, how does he sneak in there? Boy,
he's a bounty hunter. He has his ways.
But
I just accepted it.
Boba's security sucks.
Right?
Come on. He needs to hire some more people because,
I just figured he's a bounty hunter and he's good at what he does. So,
I guess. But, man, he threw Boba around like a rag doll.
Right? Yes, he did. Yes,
it was pretty awesome. I mean, we almost got that feel for A New Hope when Han warns 3PO it's best to let him have his way because, it's not wise to upset a Wookiee.
Right.
Well, no one upsets a droid. That's because droids don't rip people's arms out of their sockets. Wookiees are known to do that.
Yeah.
And we got almost a taste of that with this, him throwing Boba around. I thought it was fantastic.
It was a great fight sequence.
It was really good. And then we get the mods come in. The mods come in and fight him too, which I don't know. I think is a little ridiculous. I don't think they could.
They could what? Finish your sentence.
I don't think they could get some of the hits and stabs that they got on that Wookiee. I don't know. I don't think they were a worthy adversary of the Wookiee.
Well, there was 4 of them. I agree.
I
They
don't
were
care.
just
He's equal to 4 of them.
they were just speed bumps in the road, kind of a thing, and they didn't do great. They
Speed
didn't.
bumps. That was great.
Right? They're just. So I'm just saying that the fight was good. It took 4 of them. They didn't do anything. I mean, yeah, they got some hits in, but really, they didn't do anything to slow him down. And then when he went chasing after the Gamorrean guards and,
Well, yeah, and then I don't know. It seemed like there was more of a fight with them than there was with the Gamorrean guards. And the Gamorrean guards, they're supposed to be pretty darn tough. In fact, we've seen them in Mando fighting, doing the fights in Mando, and they were pretty tough.
Right.
So, and they should be tough because they're not as fat as the Jabba the Hutt Mandos. I mean, Jabba the Hutt ones.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Wookiees are awesome.
I think that's the point. The point is showing how cool Black Chrysostom was.
Yeah.
Chrysostom, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I'll learn his name by the end of this series.
Right. Yeah, which we'll get to. I think he's coming back. I'm pretty positive he's going to make another appearance.
But then we had another trapdoor moment to the Rancor pit, because that's when Fennec Shand comes in. And Fennec Shand, I love how she has in the stock of her gun her knife. That's awesome. I want a gun and I want a knife like that. That's so cool. I'm jealous of her. So yeah, she pulls out the knife and stabs him in the hand, and down the Sarlacc pit he goes. So we got another shot of that, which I absolutely love.
Right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed that. And then I thought it was interesting how, excuse me, right after that, they were like, "You have a guest." And I'm like, okay.
Well, yeah, their dinner gets interrupted.
Right.
And boy, they got some weird things on their table, by the way.
Right. That's a lot of food for 2 people.
Yeah, I know. And Fennec's just, I mean, she's eating like she's a royalty or something, I loved it.
Right.
Oh, wait, what's Brian saying here?
Oh, that's funny.
It's her Red Rider with the knife in the stock and this thing that tells time.
That was good.
That
was a great Christmas story reference. I love it. Good. You'll shoot your eye out.
You're right. Although, Brian, I don't think we ever have to worry about Fennec shooting her own eye out. That's not happening.
Brian,
she's too good. She is too good. So yeah, yeah, we get the moment. Their meal gets interrupted, and we get the Hutt Twins back. Which okay, we didn't talk a lot about the Hutt Twins in the last episode. I want to say, because I've seen back and forth since the Hutts were introduced. I've seen some back and forth with people how they were. Some people are still complaining, saying the Hutts don't look good because, let's face it, Lucasfilm has had a bad time with Hutts over the last 20 years. They haven't done. I think the twins, I think they look fantastic.
I think they look great, personally.
I love them. I think these are the best Hutts we have seen probably since the Return of the Jedi Jabba the Hutt. I really, really do. I like them. I like them a lot. So yeah, we get the Return of the Hutts. And they bring Jabba a gift.
They mean Boba. They bring Boba a gift.
Right? Yeah, I said Jabba. They bring Boba a gift. They bring Boba a pet Rancor.
Now, here's the thing. When I saw that Rancor coming up, and there's this little driver with the car, bringing it up and stuff, and I was so enthralled in the aspect there. He's getting a Rancor.
Well, yeah, we all were. We all were. And then when we saw who was bringing the Rancor up, I went, Danny Trejo, what? Finally, Danny Trejo is in Star Wars? This is going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah, that's how I was. I was like, Danny Trejo. I was like, this is great. Best
I pretty much
Star Wars episode ever.
I pretty much love him in everything he's in. He does such a good job in just about everything he's in. He was in the Flash series too, and I loved him in the Flash series. He was so much fun. So yeah, I think this is perfect. And for him to be the Rancor
Right.
keeper and trainer, that is just awesome.
Mhm. Yeah. Brian says again, he says, same reaction. Thank you.
Yes.
Great cameos. You're absolutely right. Great cameos.
Excellent.
I
Excellent.
see my stapler. You see my stapler? All right.
I cannot wait to see some more moments of him and Boba and him teaching both Boba and the Rancor, because we're about to get that.
Yeah, let's sidetrack here for a minute about
Sure.
that. I loved how we got more Rancor lore. Absolutely loved it. And I
Yeah.
loved it was Danny Trejo who was giving that lore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh, I love this guy. And now he is the linchpin, this new guy giving me new story
Yes.
about Rancor monsters. And not that they're just fierce fighters.
Right.
They're lovers, not fighters.
Okay. Now
I'm a lover.
I gotta
and
go.
a fighter.
I gotta go back and
Okay.
talk about the Bad Batch episode with Moochie.
Oh, right.
Because now we were led to believe, and I still don't think we ever got a true answer. We were led to believe that Rancor was possibly the same Rancor that we see in Return of the Jedi. And with that in mind back then, I was like, look, I'm not going to feel sorry for this Rancor. This Rancor tries to eat Luke, and I don't like that. So, because you ended that episode with everyone was like, oh, well, you got to feel sorry for Moochie. You got to, he's a cute little creature. And I was like, no. He tries to eat Luke. So
Right.
I don't know if it's established yet that Moochie is actually the Rancor that eats Luke or not, or tries to eat Luke or not.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I had different feelings about Rancors in that episode. Now, I wanted to like him. I wanted to like him a lot. So this Rancor I liked a lot. And I felt an emotion for it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, cool. This is going to be fun.
Well, there's also, it's a calf. It's a baby.
Yeah. That's true. Well,
it's
Moochie was still a young Rancor. Moochie was not a full.
Yeah, but Moochie had already opened its eyes. The one thing I loved about that they introduced was they imprint on the human their first, or the first thing they see, they kind of imprint on.
But see, that kind of messes up that episode a little bit, because
the Moochie episode.
Yeah, because Moochie becomes friends with Omega.
Yeah, right.
And Omega's not the first human that Moochie sees.
Right.
So
it's all right. Here, Brian says Boba had immediate connection with the baby Rancor. Makes me wonder if he ever had a pet as a kid on Kamino.
Ooh, that's a good question. Good. I like that.
Yeah.
And I would think no, he probably never had a pet on Kamino, because one, I don't know, look how clean, sterile. I just can't imagine, them allowing him to have the Kamonians to allow him to have any kind of pets. I don't know. So my first instinct would be no. So I think maybe Boba he leans towards animals. He has an affection towards animals, maybe because he had the lack of that as a child. Dang, we're really psychoanalyzing this episode.
Yeah, probably a little bit too much.
Wow.
Here goes. Brian says it's a water planet, probably fish takes only.
I like that.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. But here's the thing. Something that's said is, I love it, where he talks about you get the witches of Eastwick. I'm not the Eastwick. Oh my gosh.
The witches of Dathomir.
Right. Reference how they used to ride them. Right. And then he says, I've ridden bigger things. Boba Fett says, I've ridden bigger things. I was like, that's a deep cut. That goes back to the Star Wars special, right?
Right. That goes back to the holiday special. The Boba Fett cartoon, where we get the introduction of Boba Fett. And he is riding I'm probably going to mess the name of this up. The Mythosaurus. Mythosaurus.
Oh, sure. We'll go with that.
Right. I knew Brian would have it. I just knew he would.
The Mythosaur. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the
Awesome.
Mythosaur.
Thank you, Brian.
He rides the Mythosaur in that episode. The symbol, in fact, symbol is on my hat.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's the symbol that Boba Fett wears on his shoulder pads.
That's the Mythosaur?
Yes, that's a Mythosaur skull.
I learned something new today. What a good day.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Just like Mando has the creature he kills. Yeah, the rhino looking creature.
The rhino looking thing?
Right. He has that as his symbol. Boba Fett wears the Mythosaur as his. And it was also one of the Mando tribes or whatever in Mudhorn. That's right. Thank you, Brian. The Mudhorn. That's
Brian, great to have you on the show.
Maybe we need to bring Brian in.
I think so.
He's really well, Brian. I have to say it's penguins slipping off the iceberg for me. If you've listened to our show, you know what that means.
Right.
Which, by the way, Stephen, we have permission to make a T-shirt of that. By the way,
yay!
I talked to Scott last weekend, and he gave us permission. So,
right on, love it.
Oh, great! Thank you, Brian. So he does know what it means. Awesome. Anyway. So yeah, that was the Mythosaur, and I love that callback. Yeah, Brian, Brian said he's been there too, referring to the penguins falling off the iceberg. We're all getting older, buddy, and I think we're all experiencing it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love the callback with the Mythosaur. I thought that was awesome. That was a really cool thing. So that makes me question: are we going to see at some point Boba riding this Rancor through Mos Espa, which I also have another theory.
Epic.
Oh, that's going to be freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And I also have a theory. He wants to ride that because he knows they're a lot faster than Banthas. Because man, Banthas are slow.
Right.
So now we go to meet the mayor. Which, somebody else pointed out online, and I didn't catch this reference, but you realize it's Mayor McCheese, right?
Mayor what?
Mayor McCheese.
McCheese?
Yeah. You know, Mayor McCheese from McDonald's.
Right.
Ronald McDonald, Mayor McCheese, the Fry
the
Guys.
And the whole thing.
Right.
That's interesting.
Yeah, because he's Mayor McCheese or something like that.
It's a subliminal message to go get McDonald's.
Right.
It probably worked. I probably went and got McDonald's that day.
Actually, I did go and get McDonald's last night. I went and got chicken nuggets.
I've been getting chicken nuggets at McDonald's lately.
Don't tell my doctor that though.
Right.
I do like them though. I can't help it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now we go to
maybe I'll go today to get some. I haven't been out in a week. You know.
See, now you're thinking about Mayor McCheese and yeah, all those. You ever notice how McDonald's it went from a fun place when we were kids to a very depressing looking building as as adults. Anyway.
That's funny. I've never thought about that. We are not sponsored by McDonald's and probably won't be now. Yeah. So thank you very much. Please buy your chicken nuggets elsewhere where you can get them cheaper. Just kidding.
Anyway.
Did you ever, just a fun side note, did you ever see that episode with Grant Imahara, the guy from Mythbusters, did the whole thing for McDonald's on how chicken nuggets were made? It's really good. It's really fascinating. And I like that guy Grant. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us, but
right,
he was a fun guy, and that was really good. But then I remember seeing years ago. Oh my goodness, I can't remember his name. All of a sudden, he did a TV show, Food Nation. Oh man, and he made chicken nuggets, and showed how they got made, and stuff like that.
That's okay. Janelle says that she's hungry and she doesn't even like chicken nuggets.
Right.
That's great. That's funny.
Yeah, I may have to go get some before we do our Jamie Oliver. Yes. It was Jamie Oliver. Good job.
Okay.
And he did a thing where with all these kids, he showed them how they made chicken nuggets, and it was nasty. It was like grinding up chicken and all this kind of stuff. It was processed food parts or whatever.
Sure.
So the kids preferred to have the fried chicken nuggets rather than a whole chicken. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
And it was funny.
So
Brian says no one wants to know how the sausage is made.
Right. We just want the end product, right, Brian? Yep, I agree.
Oh my goodness, what a fun episode. Thanks for the interaction, everybody. I love it. Thank you.
Yes. I didn't know it was going to turn into a chicken nugget episode, but hey, whatever. So then we get
moving on. My bad. I threw us off the thing. We're already over an hour in.
I know.
And we have to get ready for our next episode, and I have to go get chicken nuggets before the next episode. So come on, let's hurry up.
Well, my notes are almost done. If you just shut up.
I'm teasing.
So now we go to meet the mayor, and we meet up with Mr. Prissy Pants, which I don't remember.
I hate that guy. I'm surprised he's not dead yet.
I think give it some time. He's probably gonna be dead. I don't think he's gonna last too much longer.
Right.
So yeah, we got Mr. Prissy Pants, and then we got Joe Dirt back. They were both in this episode, and when we go to meet the mayor, and of course the mayor's not here, and all that good crap.
Mm-hmm.
And then Fennec pulls the knife out of the stock of her gun again, which absolutely loved, and then bust into the office of the mayor, and they find out he's not there. And then of course they go chasing Mr. Prissy Pants, and we get some cool callbacks to the pod race with this. I loved when the one girl, I have no idea what her name is, but when she's riding her speeder and she goes up those steps, it was almost like Anakin in the pod race. It looked like almost an identical shot.
Oh, sure. I know what you mean.
It was really cool. It was another that's like poetry. It rhymes. It's parallel, So we had another one of those moments.
I wonder if that was just an excuse to use other story elements from other TV shows and movies. I'm just kidding.
Well,
I'm making that up.
I mean, they're always borrowing from, other scenes.
There's themes. Like the whole thing about storytelling is there's these main themes. There's a great book by Booker, I think on all these different themes that are in stories and these journeys, and
Sure.
It's all based on the hero's journey, but there's different journeys, for different types of stories and stuff. So there's always some elements. Everybody's borrowing from everybody else.
Well, in my Facebook memories this morning, a memory popped up. Somebody shared a little meme with me, and they had the breakdowns of the scenes from The Dark Knight with the Joker, and the Joker, and he's meeting with the gang and all. And they had them comparing scenes to The Crow, and it was almost identical. I was like, wow, that's pretty freaking amazing, actually. I mean, the shots were just the camera angles and everything. They were just right in sequence with the scenes in The Crow. It looked identical. So
wow.
Yeah, they borrow from different things. And of course, Star Wars is going to borrow from Star Wars. So
absolutely, because it rhymes.
That's right.
It's like poetry.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
We could really make that a drinking game for this episode and not make it at the end of the show.
True. But this moment in the pod race in chasing down Mr. Prissy Pants, that's when we get the Ralph McQuarrie reference, because when the guys are carrying across that portrait of Jabba the Hutt, that's actually original Ralph McQuarrie drawing.
Oh, that's awesome!
Yeah. So
did Paul post that? Did he post that?
I did not see Paul post it, which I am shocked that Paul didn't. I saw somebody else post it, but then after I looked at it, I was like, wow, yeah, that is a Ralph McQuarrie drawing. It's fantastic. It's beautiful.
Right.
Really sucks that they ran through that. and destroy it. I mean, that's just like destroying a Mona Lisa. Come on.
I know, right?
Right.
It was a faked replica.
Right.
Just
Of
saying.
course.
Just saying.
It can't be an original anyway.
It's not original. It's a faked replica. You know.
So then we get to the end. And so we have that. We find out that basically the mayor has pretty much teamed up with the Pikes. And we get one of the gang members kind of observing the Pikes coming. A lot of Pikes, at least a dozen or more
At
Pikes
least a dozen
coming off of that ship. So
Mhm.
so yeah, we're getting into some interesting territory.
Very excited about getting this live action Pikes, the
Now the
Pike
question
Syndicate.
is, do the
Mhm.
Pikes at some point cross over with oh shoot, what's the name? The Syndicate, or the what
Red Dawn.
Kira from Solo. What'd you say?
Oh, Dawn, Crimson Dawn.
Crimson Dawn.
Crimson
So
Dawn.
are the Pikes actually crossing over with Crimson Dawn? Are we going to get a Kira appearance?
I would love that if we did. I
think that would be neat. I think that would be really cool. So
Mhm.
that's my question. Are we going to get a Kira appearance? When are we going to see Boba Fett riding the Rancor down the streets of Mos Espa? I mean,
Mhm.
you know what? I think that would be a much cooler image to see him doing that than to see him being carried around on a mat like Jabba the Hutt. You know how they're all
what do
like
they call it? Their litter?
their litter?
Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
I just think every time I hear litter, I just think cat litter. You know what I mean? So I'm like,
well,
I didn't hear your litter. I'm like, okay.
oh, you see Brian's
Great question, Brian.
You want to put it up?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. So Brian says, will Darth Maul return in live action as head of Crimson Dawn? Good question. At this point, I don't know. And I'm a huge Darth Maul fan. I'm almost as big a Darth Maul fan as I am Boba Fett. But are we getting to a point where we're getting tired of Darth Maul? Because Darth Maul seems to be popping up in everything.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, well, he popped up in Solo. And Solo, when he popped up in Solo, granted, I was happy to see him, but I literally looked at Brennan and I go, where the heck are we in the timeline? I was so confused. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this right? I was so confused.
That's how I feel about it. In all openness, I'm like, where are we in the timeline? And I'm like, well, I know we're getting Kenobi series, and good night. Would that be awesome to get that same scene we got in Rebels?
I don't know if they'll repeat it though.
Right.
I mean,
and it's okay if they don't. It's okay if they don't.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't have a problem with it. I saw it.
Excuse me.
I don't have to see it in live action for it to be real to me. So I don't need it. I mean, if they do it like as a flashback, I think it'd be kind of cool. But I'm saying I don't think we're going to see Darth Maul in the Kenobi series. I think we would have a better chance of him showing up here only because I think it's going to cross over with Crimson Dawn.
The whole crime syndicate, the criminal underworld of Star Wars is kind of the theme. Okay. Now, I can see that. I can see that. Better. Sure.
I think it fits better here than
it fits much more better.
It fits much more better. But yeah, I don't know. I'm at this point thinking we have a better chance of seeing Kira than we do Darth Maul. And there's rumors that we may get a young Han Solo at some point. Well, Harrison is filming Indy 4, and they said that they did the de-aging process on him for Indy 4. So if they're going to spend the money to do the de-aging process for him for Indiana Jones, I don't think it's a far stretch to imagine them doing it for Star Wars. I mean, you're going to want as much money out of him as you can. He's a money maker. That's a money maker right there.
Janelle, I'm the same with you. I'm not sure if I support that as well. I don't know. I don't know.
I want a young Han Solo. And if we're getting Kira, we might as well get a young Han Solo. So, I mean,
right.
We'll see. We'll see. It may not happen.
Well,
I don't know.
Realistically, though, this takes place after Return of the Jedi.
True.
So this is
okay. Not young Han Solo, but Han Solo.
Okay.
Karika. Return
Kira after. Maybe it's when they break up, Leia and him break up, and no, I'm just kidding.
Well, okay, we at some point they do break up.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't like that in the sequel trilogies at all. Recast.
I would actually love them to see the guy who they got to play Solo. I would have liked to. I'd like to see him come back because he did a great job mimicking Harrison Ford's tics and mannerisms and stuff like that for Han Solo.
I liked him too, but I don't think he has the fan support behind him. I think we would have a better chance of having a younger, a de-aged Harrison Ford, and especially since we got a de-aged Mark Hamill in Mandalorian. I think that says a lot.
Okay. That's a whole. We're moving into an incredible opportunity.
This is just speculation of what's to come later.
About because I'm like, they should have just got Sebastian Stan to play, Luke Skywalker. That was my opinion.
Right, but they didn't do that, did they?
They didn't. They didn't do that.
They de-aged Mark Hamill,
mm-hmm.
And I think if they're gonna bring Han back, they're gonna de-age Harrison Ford. And considering the rumor is they've already done it for Indy 4, I don't think it's a far stretch to say that he's going to make an appearance in Boba Fett as a younger Harrison Ford. Gotta avoid the topic. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much the end of the episode. So I went through all my notes.
We got through all your notes. Right on. You did great. I have to commend you.
Thank you.
3 pages and there was a lot that went into this episode. There absolutely was.
I knew you were sick. So I'm like,
thank you.
I really gotta take
gracious.
the driver's seat for this one. So
you.
I made sure and took lots of notes. So I remembered stuff, and I wanted to be really prepared. So I was.
You're a good man. You're a good friend. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And all.
Because usually you're kind of the one going through the episode. So, yeah.
Well, it depends, but yeah, it was good. It just gives us a launching pad for our discussions.
And I wanted to highlight a lot of things because, like I said, the first go round I didn't like the episode as much, and then the second go round, as I processed it more, I liked it better. I've seen a lot of people online who've really downplayed this episode. Oh, it wasn't good. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of cool things in this episode if you really look at it. So that's another reason I really wanted to analyze this one. And I think we analyzed this one a lot more than we have the previous couple episodes. So,
well, we did, but there was so much. There were so many details in this episode, which made it really good and stuff. So yeah. I do want to say this real quick. Don't forget, everybody, if you're joining us right now. Excuse me. Yes, I've been sick. I do want to say this. In an hour from now, we are doing our special 1-year anniversary episode. We've been podcasting for a year.
As of today, 1 year.
As of today. And so today we're doing our 1-year anniversary, saying thank you so much. We're going to talk about our journey, how we started, what we did, the special guests that we've had in the past. We have some that are making special appearances. I'm very excited. And it's just going to be a great extravaganza. So we're going to take a break because I got to go to McDonald's and get chicken nuggets now. At all. Thank you, Brian.
Yes, thank you, Brian.
Brian says happy anniversary. Happy anniversary. So please join us in an hour. It's going to be a lot of fun. I totally enjoy the interactions. Janelle, thank you so much. Brian, thank you so much.
Yes.
For chiming in and talking. We love it. We do get emails and other stuff from folks too, but I like going live and having these interactions, and it really brings some fun. I got some great laughs from you guys, so thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And if you're joining in for the first time and you want to learn more about us, please go to our webpage, which is 2 geeks, GEEKS, Mike, MIC.com. As we say, that is our portal, our hub to everything. So you can get to our YouTube page, our Twitch page, our Ko-fi page, our Facebook page. Make sure and go like us on Facebook. We're growing on Facebook. Actually, we got a pretty good following on Facebook. I'd like to see it bigger. So please go and follow us on Facebook, like us on Facebook. Whatever your favorite platform for viewing us or listening to us on, make sure you like us. And if you can, give us 5 stars and a review. That helps get the show out. And just share the show with friends, please. And lastly, you can check out our Ko-fi page if you want to support us. Ko-fi is like Patreon. We just like Ko-fi a little bit better. And we are starting a tier system there. We will explain a little bit more about Ko-fi in our next episode, on our anniversary episode. So please join us for that. And last of all, you can always go to our merch page and pick up a t-shirt or a mug or whatever. Have a nice coffee with us as we talk at the virtual coffee table, as we like to call it.
Right on. Well stated.
All right. Anything else, Stephen?
No, I'm good. I'm just ready to. I'm pretty excited about our next show. I'm very excited about our next show. This has been great discussion. I love your detail. I love the stuff that you picked up. This has been a good show, and I'm still looking forward to the rest of the season as a must watch.
Oh,
Boba Fett.
I think after this is done, we're gonna have to kind of go back and look at the whole season as a whole picture. We may have to have like a little retrospective of the entire season once it's done.
Ooh, I bet you we could get some special guests for that too.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I have 2 in mind that I really want to get back on, so we'll see what happens. All right.
Okay.
So with that said, as I always say, over and out, and may the Force be with you. Thank you for joining us today on the 2 Geeks and a Microphone podcast. Tune in next week when we will have more news and reviews. Until then, may the Force be with you.